Okay, so hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to Justice Legal, where we'll also be doing legal reasoning with you guys on this Unacademy YouTube channel for CLAT. Okay, and this session is going to be an interesting session because we'll be talking about theft, which is there in the Indian Penal Code, which was basically designed way back in the British era by Lord Macaulay. Okay, so we'll just wait for a couple of minutes and then we shall start this particular session. This is an important session for you guys, for the guys who are preparing for because these kind of questions are not asked now in CLAT, but other law entrance exams like ALET, BLAT, MHCT can have questions related to theft also. Okay, so we were just waiting for a couple of seconds and then we shall start this particular session. Okay, this is an important session for you guys. Okay, so just 30 more seconds we shall wait. Okay. Okay, so this session is very important for law entrance examination. Very good evening, Dipali. I hope you find this particular session relevant for your examination because this session is of utmost importance. Okay, so हम इस particular session में देखेंगे basics of theft. Okay, we are not going into very much detail about theft. Okay, we won't discussing much of the questions because that you can come and get the taste of theft. You can get the taste of theft on this particular video, but उसके details में अगर आपको और further जाना होगा तो you'll have to join the plus program at Unacademy. So we'll just wait for a couple of seconds. Okay, so let us start this particular session. Theft. What is basically theft? So section 378 of the Indian Penal Code, it defines theft that whoever intending to take dishonestly any movable property out of the possession of any person without that person's consent moves that property in order to such taking is said to commit theft. Okay, so Creative Hub, hello Creative Hub, I hope you are doing good. Please, okay. So now we shall listen to this particular statement and again and she'll try to point out important ingredients of the definition. See, understand, जब भी एग्जामिनेशन में आपसे पूछा जाएगा इन रिलेशन टू क्रिमिनल लॉ क्वेश्चंस, जब भी क्रिमिनल लॉ से रिलेटेड कोई भी क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं, ठीक है, वो क्वेश्चंस आपके लिए काफी ज्यादा रेलेवेंट हो जाते हैं. क्यों? बिकॉज वहां पे आपकी कभी कभी एग्जाम में नॉलेज टेस्ट होती है. इन पर्टिकुलर इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द ऑल इंडिया लॉ एंट्रेंस टेस्ट दैट इज फॉर द नेशनल लॉ यूनिवर्सिटी दिल्ली एग्जाम, that is something which is I think very important for you guys to understand कि आपको क्रिमिनल लॉ का बेसिक्स पता होना चाहिए. हाउ क्राइम इज गोइंग टू फ्लो, what are the basic ingredients of crime, how that particular ingredients are to be fitted in that particular definition of the crime, और उसके बाद ही हम एक कंक्लूजन पे आते हैं which is your answer. So you'll have to understand कि कोई भी क्राइम के बारे में हम जब भी बात कर रहे होते हैं, any crime we are talking about, the various offenses mentioned in the Indian Penal Code, so उसकी जब भी हम बात करेंगे तो एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट जो चीज है, वो दो इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, वो होनी चाहिए. फर्स्ट इज मेंस रिया, ओके, which means guilty mind. Okay, and the second thing is actus reus. Okay, which means that there should be an action in furtherance of that particular guilty intention or guilty mind. So now कोई भी क्राइम को हम इसी बेसिक्स पे देखेंगे. आई सपोज कि आप लोगों को ये बेसिक्स क्लियर होगा. सो देन ओनली वी आर गोइंग टू दिस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक ऑफ थेफ्ट. सो अगेन लेट अस गो टू द डेफिनेशन ऑफ थेफ्ट एंड ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट कि इसमें क्या क्या इंपॉर्टेंट एसेंशियल इंग्रेडिएंट्स हैं थेफ्ट के, जो आपको क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते वक्त ध्यान में रखना है. ठीक है, सो लिसन, whoever intending to take dishonestly, so the intention should be there. Any kind of offense, crime जो हम आईपीसी के अंदर में डील करते हैं, उन सब में इंटेंशन मोस्टली में जरूरी होती है. सो इंटेंशन इज समथिंग दैट इज इनहेरेंट. सो डिसऑनेस्टली बहुत एक इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड है. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल I go to my friend's place and I am getting late for my examination. I'm not able to find my watch. I see my friend's watch, and since I might lose some time trying to find my own watch, I take my friend's watch and intending that after 2 hours of examination I am going to return it to him. उसको 1 घंटे के अंदर ही पता चल जाता है that I have taken that particular watch. He files एन एफ आई आर कि उसको कंटेंट करता है कि मैंने उसकी घड़ी चुराई है. सो द फर्स्ट एंड द फोर मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, पहला इंग्रेडिएंट ही जो है, द फर्स्ट इंग्रेडिएंट. सो आपको इन इंग्रेडिएंट्स को ग्रेजुअली देखना है कि वो फुलफिल हो रहे हैं कि नहीं. सो पहला इंग्रेडिएंट जो है, दैट हूएवर इंटेंडिंग टू टेक एनी टू डिसऑनेस्टली एनी मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी. सो वॉच इज अ मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, बट उससे पहले क्या आ जाता है, डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन होना चाहिए. एंड व्हाट इज डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन? डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन का मतलब समझना आपके लिए बहुत जरूरी है. व्हाट इज डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन? सो अब मेरी इंटेंशन डिसऑनेस्ट थी कि नहीं, इसको हम लीगली समझने की कोशिश करेंगे. सो डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन का मतलब है व्हेन योर इंटेंशन इज टू कॉज wrongful gain or wrongful loss. So if I take that particular watch with an intention कि I'll sell it, so यहां पे क्या हो रहा है, जिसकी वॉच होगी मैं उसकी वॉच ले जा रहा हूं, तो मतलब उसको लॉस हो रहा है. he is facing some wrongful loss on his part, and I on the other hand, I am getting some wrongful gain. I am not entitled to the cost of the watch, but I am getting the cost of that particular watch, and that is why we say that my intention was dishonest. Okay, so understand this. The person should suffer some dishonest wrongful loss or wrongful gain, then only we can say that there was dishonest intention. So the example that I gave you guys, the watch example, whereby I take my friend's watch with an intention that I'll return it after 2 hours after my examination has been done with, there my intention is not to cause any kind of wrongful loss to my friend, neither there is intention to cause wrongful gain on my part, because यहां पे क्या है, एक रिलेशन है फ्रेंडशिप का, जिसके बेसिस पे मैं उसको लेकर के जा रहा हूं प्रॉपर्टी को. एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी कैन से दैट देयर वाज नो डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस. ओके, सो अंडरस्टैंड डिसऑनेस्टी. सो डिसऑनेस्टी इज द फर्स्ट एंड द फोरमोस्ट थिंग दैट यू विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड फॉर बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ थेफ्ट. ओके, डिसऑनेस्टी. ओके, सो डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन प्लीज आप लोग याद रखेंगे. This is very important. The first and the foremost ingredient is dishonest intention. Please write it down. The first essential for theft, dishonest intention. The second ingredient here is movable property. Movable property. A property that is not attached to the ground is said to be a property that is movable property. Okay? My laptop is a movable property, but a tree inside my compound is not a movable property. Okay, so there are a couple of questions that is related to movable property can always be there, and you won't be facing any kind of problem in relation to that. For example, wallpaper लगा हुआ है, there is a wallpaper stuck to the walls of a particular room. I take down the wallpaper from that particular room. Now those wallpapers are not stuck. So जब तक वो stuck थे wall से, they were part of the immovable property, and they were themselves immovable property because they were attached to the ground. But when I take it out of the wall, and the moment I start taking it out of the wall with an intention to take it out of the possession of the owner or the person in whose possession that particular property is, मेरा क्या हो जाएगा बेटा, मैं उस प्रॉपर्टी को, इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी को मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी में कन्वर्ट कर दूंगा. इससे रिलेटेड एक क्वेश्चन हमेशा पूछा जाता है. वन क्वेश्चन दैट इज स्पेसिफिकली दैट हैज बीन आस्क्ड n number of times previously before 2020 in CLAT and in All India Law Entrance Test. Okay, so what happens, A, he goes to B's house. Okay, A is going to B's house. Let me just I have that particular question. Okay, this is the question. A cuts down a tree on Z's ground with the intention of dishonestly taking the tree out of Z's possession without Z's consent. So is has A committed theft even if the tree has not been completely cut? Understand कि कैसे मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी इमूवेबल में कन्वर्ट होती है, हाउ मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी कन्वर्ट्स टू हाउ इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी कन्वर्ट्स टू अ मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी. ये होता कैसे, ये आपको समझने की जरूरत है. सो द फर्स्ट एंड द फॉरमोस्ट थिंग, द मूवमेंट, the process of converting that immovable property into movable starts with an intention of dishonestly taking that particular property out of someone's possession. Then we say the moment that particular process has been the theft has been committed. So this is one very important factor in relation to property. Okay, जब immovable property को हम movable में convert करते हैं. So the moment A starts cutting the tree, the moment A starts cutting the tree, understand, theft हो गया बेटा. Okay, it is theft. So that is why this particular thing is pretty important, because this does not flows with the kind of reasoning that you require in tort law and contract law, where you have to stick to the principle completely. Here, listen to my golden rule. There is one golden rule of legal reasoning. Okay, I'll tell you one golden rule of legal reasoning. Okay, cheesy line भी कह सकते हो, ठीक है? That stick to the principle. Okay, so I'll just remove everything. The golden rule, I have to write it. Okay, so you'll have to stick to the principle, the rule that you have been reading all the time. Stick to the principle, but there's a but clause in my rule. Don't get sticky. Okay, so if you will see half cut tree, it is not completely movable property. It has not converted into movable property as of now, but it is still an object of theft for the purpose of section 378 IPC, and this is what you will be marking as the answer also, because the examiner setting the examination whereby he intends to know your point on this particular question, or your viewpoint on this particular question. He intends you to answer in a particular manner. This particular example, my friend, is there in one of the explanations of section 378. So that is why this is something that is there in the statute. This is the correct version. Okay, so whenever you see the principle of theft, exactly the principle that I have showed you here, theft, whoever intending to take dishonestly any movable property out of the possession of any person without that person's consent, move that property in order to such taking, is said to commit theft. Okay, so this is something that is pretty important for you. Okay, now coming back to the next ingredient. So we have taken down two very important ingredients. First is the dishonest intention. So dishonest intention causing wrongful loss or wrongful gain. Any movable property. So what is a movable property? That can be moved easily from one place to another. Okay, something that is not attached to the ground. If something that is attached to the ground, it is taken or it is adhered from the ground, it is detached from the ground. The moment the process starts with an intention to taking that property out of the possession of the possessee, then in order to such taking, we can say that the theft has been committed. Okay, so this is something that you'll have to also understand. Now coming to the third important ingredient of theft is the possession. So what is possession? Okay, so we are not talking about owner. For example, there is a watch that belongs to Mr. PP, that is me. Okay, so there's a watch that belongs to me. I have brought that particular watch of 1 lakh rupees. Okay, मैं कभी खरीदूंगा नहीं इतने की, ठीक है, but still 1 lakh rupees watch is something I don't like wearing watches, and that is the reason I'll not buy a 1 lakh rupees watch. And I don't have money, that much money also. So 1 lakh rupees watch belongs to Mr. Prashant Pandey. He gives that particular watch to, so let's see there are a couple of people. Okay, let's see, Mr. PP gives his watch to Deepali. Okay, Now Dipali has that particular watch, and I've given that particular watch to Dipali to keep it safe for say 1 year. Okay. Now there is another person, okay, whose name is Rajat. What he does, he goes to Dipali's place, takes a look at that particular watch, takes that watch and moves it out of the possession of Dipali. Now Rajat has committed theft. He has committed theft. Okay. And the party of the theft is the other party of the theft whose possession or whose movable property has been moved is Dipali, not Prashant. Reason being, the possession, we are talking about the possession part, we are not talking about the ownership. So possession आपके पास होना चाहिए, आप owner हैं कि नहीं, immaterial है, ठीक है. There should be legal possession of that particular property. Then only theft can be there. For example, I go to some person, my friend's place, I see his PlayStation, I dishonestly move that particular PlayStation out of his possession with an intention to keep it with myself, causing him wrongful loss and me wrongful gain, okay? And I'm playing PlayStation, and then some other person, he comes to my place, takes a look at that particular PlayStation 5 and takes that PlayStation. That particular PlayStation was not in my possession because that was not my legal possession, and that is something that has to be understood. Okay, so Arif Azmi, hello, a very good evening to you also. So possession is something that is very, very important. Again, physical possession is something that is to be understood, and there is mental possession that is to be understood. For example, there is a house that belongs to A. ओके, एक घर है जो ए को बिलोंग करता है. इस घर में देयर आर से 3 rooms, okay, and then there is one store room here. Okay, there is one store room which is not opened by anyone and hasn't been opened like for 10 years. ठीक है, it does not has a latch, but it has not been opened for 10 years, and no one goes in there and no one goes out because there is a possibility that there is a ghost inside this particular room. I am not sure whether ghost exists or not, but ये घर के लोग believe करते हैं. B comes to A's house, sees that his PlayStation 5 is kept in room number 3. He goes to room number 3, picks up that PlayStation, and since A is home, he cannot move that particular PlayStation out of his possession. What he does, he moves that PS5 to the storeroom, with an intention कि later on he'll come and take PS5 from A's possession. Understand, here when it was in room number 3, it was in A's possession, A's mental and physical possession. But when it is moved to storeroom without his knowledge and with an intention, B moves that property in order to such taking, then we say that it was not in the mental possession of A, since it has been moved to a place where A cannot have access. Access means mental access. He is not going to get in that particular room because of the fear of ghost. Okay, so B knows that and uses that to his benefit, and that is why B is said to have committed theft. Okay, so this is something that is pretty important. Okay, now another ingredient, first was dishonest intention, the second was movable property, third is out of the possession. Okay, so these 3 ingredients we have understood about theft. Next, without that person's consent. So consent is something that you can easily understand if a person has allowed, or rather person has given his implied consent or explicit consent. So there are 2 kind of consents also. You need to understand this: implied consent, okay, and then there is explicit consent. Okay, so it's a general notion कि A जो है उसकी watch उसके room में रहती है. There's a person A who has a watch which everyone considers lucky. Okay, everyone in the college considers lucky, and there are approximately 500 people in college. So everyone, when he or she has their examination, goes to A's room and take his watch. A is completely aware of the about the situation and knows कि कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है इस चीज में, ठीक है. B comes to this particular place and takes A's watch. So whether B has taken A's consent or not. So here A is not giving an explicit consent, but he is giving implied consent, which is generally given to every individual in the university. We can say that the consent was given. So understand that particular has to somehow directly or indirectly approve to that particular property being taken out of his possession or her possession. Then we can say that the consent of that particular person was there. So you'll have to check the consent part also. The fourth ingredient becomes the consent part. Okay. Moves that property in order to such taking is said to have committed theft. So this is something that is pretty important for you guys. We'll be taking down a few explanations about that. We are not done with theft. Okay, so in this half an hour session, I think that is all the basics of theft that I have covered. You'll have to practice a lot of questions. Different scenarios are there which you'll have to understand. But okay, and then only you'll be able to understand the nuances of theft and get almost every single question correct. So you can just go to the plus subscription of Unacademy to understand theft in the best possible manner. Okay, so we will be taking down questions also. So the first question that we have already taken down. Now we'll take few more questions. Okay, so what happens? Just a second. Okay, so A puts a bait for dogs in his pocket and it thus induces Z's dog to follow. Okay, here if A's intention be dishonestly to take the dog out of Z's possession without Z's consent, so has A committed theft or not? This is something that you have to answer. I'm going to give you 15 seconds. Has A committed theft in this particular question or not? Please answer in the comment section. I'm watching. Please guys, in this particular situation, please explain कि वहां theft है कि नहीं है. Okay, so in this particular situation, when A puts a bait for dog in his pocket and thus induces Z's dog to follow. Here, if A's intention is to dishonestly take that dog out of Z's possession, then, and that is true without Z's consent, then A has committed theft as soon as Z's dog has begun to follow A. Okay, even if it is if that particular dog is on Z's property, she's still liable. Okay, so this particular question is also very important. Next. A has committed. Very good, Brijesh. Very good. So next question is A meets a bullock carrying a box of treasure. Okay, so the treasures at your disposal. Okay, so he drives this bullock in a certain direction in order that he may dishonestly take the treasure. So what happens? Has A committed theft in this particular case, and if he has, at what moment he has committed theft? Can anyone tell me? So first of all, has A committed has A committed theft in this particular situation? Tell me, come on guys. Has A committed theft? Okay, so A has committed theft. So Brijesh has said A has committed theft in this particular scenario when the movement the bullock begins to move in a certain direction. On that particular movement, theft has been caused. So you understand? Next, A being Z's servant and entrusted by Z with the care of Z's plate, dishonestly runs away with the plate without Z's consent. Has A committed theft? Has A committed theft? So the property has been transferred to Z. So Abhay has answered yes, very good. Now this particular question is one of the trickiest question. Okay, so and also the last question of the session. So this particular question, understand, A being Z servant. So imagine I am Mr. Prashant, okay, and then there is another person. Okay, Brijesh Ji. Okay, so not okay, some other person. Okay, so person B, Prashant is there, and there is a person B who is my servant. I give him my watch, okay, and I am giving that particular watch to take care of that particular watch. So मैं अपने पास से watch निकाल के उसको दे देता हूँ, okay. He dishonestly runs away with the plate without Z's consent. So has A committed theft. इसके अलावा एक और सिचुएशन मैं आपको दे रहा हूं. सेम सिचुएशन में A gives his mobile phone for repair, okay, at a particular shop. The worker जिसको भी दिया है इसने, और the shop owner, he runs away with the phone. So has he committed theft in this particular situation? Come on guys, both the situation you'll have to answer. First case में A being Z servant, okay, here Z, I'm not just extremely sorry, Z give his mobile phone for repair and the shopkeeper, he runs away with the phone. So both case में बताइए लाइबल होगा. इसको भी शॉप ओनर का नाम भी ए ही कर देते हैं. सो अंडरस्टैंड, when there is a servant, okay, when there is your servant और आप उसको कोई सामान देते हो, I'm entrusting some goods to my servant, I am not understand, when there is a case of servant and you give your goods to your servant, someone that has been employed by you, okay, as a servant, then you're not transferring your possession, because something that is in the possession of your servant, the good that belongs to the master, then we say that it is in the possession of the master, okay. So जब भी जो भी servant है उसको आप कोई भी सामान दे रहे हो, आप अपने पोजीशन ट्रांसफर नहीं कर रहे हो. एंड सिंस यू आर नॉट ट्रांसफरिंग द पोजीशन, व्हाट हैपेंस व्हेन द सर्वेंट रन्स अवे विद द प्रॉपर्टी, ही इज सेड टू हैव कमिटेड थेफ्ट, बिकॉज व्हेन ही मूव्स दैट प्रॉपर्टी आउट ऑफ द पोजीशन, देन देयर इज थेफ्ट. On the other hand, when you give your mobile phone to a third person, okay, when you entrust your property to a third person for some particular work of a particular use or for any particular reason, then you are transferring the possession. So in case of servant, possession transfer नहीं हो रहा है, but in case of any mobile repair shop, for example, you are transferring the possession. So in case of A, when servant moves that particular plate out of Z's possession, he has committed theft, okay. But when the shopkeeper runs away with your mobile phone, he has not committed theft, rather he can be held liable for other offenses like criminal breach of trust or criminal misappropriation of property, but not theft, because the possession is with the shop owner. तुमने अपना फोन दे दिया था ना उसको बनने के लिए, इसलिए पोजेशन उसके पास है. बट जब तुम सर्वेंट को देते हो अपना फोन रखने के लिए, तो पोजेशन ट्रांसफर नहीं होता. एंड दिस इज द बेसिक्स ऑफ थेफ्ट. देयर आर एन नंबर ऑफ अदर एक्सप्लेनेशंस टू थेफ्ट. If you love this particular session, please comment in the comment section. And this particular session that is why pretty important, and it is going to help you build the basics of theft. Okay, and if you guys want to go up with the more sessions on theft and other sessions on legal reasoning, kindly upgrade yourself to Unacademy Plus. Thank you, Prashant Pandey aka PP sir, signing off. Thank you, a very good night to all of you. Okay, take care, bye bye.